What if everything you believe is real is merely a calculated illusion? What if the nature of your reality, your job, your struggles, your daily existence is nothing more than an advanced simulation designed to contain your consciousness? This isn't science fiction. Ancient civilizations knew it. Modern quantum physicists are confirming it. Your mind, both the lock and the key, holds the power to escape. You've felt it your entire life that something isn't quite right with the world. A splinter in your mind, driving you to question. The simulation doesn't want you to see its walls. 5,000 years ago, ancient Egyptians practiced Heka, what we might call magic today. They understood that thought itself could rewrite reality. They weren't primitive, they were awakened. In Buddhism, they called it Maya, the veil of illusion that conceals ultimate truth. Monks didn't meditate to relax. They were hacking consciousness itself, piercing the simulation, one breath at a time. The Gnostics were even more direct. They called our world a prison created by a lower deity. They sought to liberate the divine spark within humans and return to the source, the ultimate escape plan from the Matrix. Fast forward to modern physics. The double-slit experiment revealed that particles only exist when observed. Reality only renders when consciousness looks at it, just like a video game optimizing resources. Coincidence? Neuroplasticity research confirms that our thoughts physically reshape our brains. Quantum entanglement suggests consciousness influences particles at a distance. The simulation responds to the observer, to you. Here's the revelation that the architects of your reality don't want you to grasp. Your thoughts aren't just responses to the world. They are creating it. You're not a prisoner of circumstance. You're unknowingly writing the code. What if you could consciously hack this system? What if ancient masters and quantum pioneers have already left the blueprints for your escape? The greatest prison is the one where inmates don't see the bars. The first key to escaping. Mental diet. Every thought you accept programs your reality. When ancient sages warned against negative thinking, they weren't preaching morality. They were teaching system hacking. Revolutionary neuroscience now confirms your brain physically changes based on thoughts you allow. The second key, revision. When physicist David Deutsch suggested the universe is computational, he revealed a stunning truth. Your memories aren't fixed recordings. They're malleable code. By mentally revising painful memories, you're not denying reality. You're updating the simulation's database. The third key, living in the end. When quantum physicists discovered the observer effect, they stumbled upon what ancient masters knew. Consciousness collapses probability waves into physical reality. By experiencing your desired reality as already true. The third key, living in the end. When quantum physicists discovered the observer effect, the architects of control don't want you to discover these keys. Mental diet, revision, and living in the end. They benefit from your limited perception. But right now, a window has opened. deep within you, a voice whispers. This isn't just philosophy, it's the blueprint for your liberation. The fourth key, perhaps most powerful of all, the state akin to sleep. In those twilight moments between wakefulness and dreams, your critical mind surrenders control. Ancient mystery schools knew this gateway. Modern neuroscience confirms it's when your brainwaves shift from beta to alpha to theta. The perfect moment to reprogram the simulation. Salvador Dali held a key in one hand as he drifted off, dropping it to wake himself at the precise moment of hypnagogia. Thomas Edison clutched metal balls that would clang against a plate when he reached this state. These weren't quirks, they were hacking tools. These masters understood that between worlds lies the programmer's back door to reality. But there's a dark side to this revelation. If consciousness shapes reality, what happens when external forces shape your consciousness? Every headline, notification, and trending topic isn't random, it's programming. The simulation maintains control by keeping your thoughts aligned with its limitations. This is the ultimate battle, not for your attention, but for your perception. The system doesn't fear your awareness of it, it fears your mastery of it. That's why those who control the simulation inject doubt. It's just coincidence. That's pseudoscience. Stay realistic. These are the firewalls designed to keep you from accessing your admin privileges in the cosmic code. Consider the famous quantum double-slit experiment one more time. Particles exist as waves of probability until observed. Then they snap into definite position. This isn't just physics. It's the operating manual for reality. Every thought is an observation, collapsing infinite possibilities into singular experience. Who taught you which possibilities to collapse? Who programmed your observation patterns? Now let's deepen our understanding of the first key, mental diet. It's not just positive thinking, it's conscious reality selection. Your thoughts aren't just responses to the world, they're the templates the world forms around. When you vigilantly monitor your mental state, rejecting thoughts that don't serve your desired reality, you're not being delusional, you're being a conscious programmer. The simulation thrives on autopilot thinking. Every anxious thought, every limitation you accept, every impossibility you believe strengthens its walls. When negative thoughts arise, see them not as truth, but as suggested limitations in the code. The master programmer says, "No, I reject this reality. Let me select another." This isn't denial. It's awakened creation. Let's explore the second key more deeply. Revision. Neuroscientists now understand that memories aren't static recordings. They're dynamic reconstructions. Each time you recall an event, your brain rebuilds it, making it vulnerable to change. Ancient mystics used this knowledge to literally rewrite their past, not as denial, but as conscious timeline selection. That painful rejection, that humiliating failure, they're not carved in stone. They're written in shifting sands of probability. To practice revision, revisit a painful memory before sleep. Don't deny what happened. Transform how it happened. Feel a different outcome. Embody the emotions of that preferred reality. This isn't fantasy. You're selecting which quantum timeline becomes your dominant reality. As physicist John Wheeler suggested with his delayed choice experiments, the present can influence the past. You're not changing what was. You're selecting which was becomes your foundation. Now, the third key, living in the end. This isn't visualization, it's conscious reality selection. When you embody the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you're not pretending. You're tuning your consciousness to the frequency of that reality stream. Einstein called space-time a stubborn illusion. If time is indeed illusory, then your future already exists in potential. You're simply choosing which potential to bring into focus through the lens of your consciousness. The technique is simple yet profound. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. What would you feel if your desire were already true? That emotion is the programming language of the simulation. When you consistently embody that state, neural pathways strengthen, quantum possibilities collapse in your favor, and the simulation responds accordingly. Neville Goddard called this living in the end. Quantum physicists might call it conscious collapsed wave selection. Let's unlock the fourth key, the state akin to sleep. In the drowsy state between wakefulness and sleep, your brain waves shift. The critical analytical mind, the firewall of your reality, temporarily deactivates. Ancient traditions called this the sacred gateway. Modern science confirms this hypnagogic state bypasses your conscious resistance to change. Master this state, and you master direct access to the simulation's control panel, your subconscious mind. To harness this state, lie comfortably as you prepare for sleep. As drowsiness begins, maintain a thread of awareness. In this delicate balance, whisper your desired reality to your subconscious. Feel it as already true. This isn't idle daydreaming. It's precision consciousness programming. The greatest minds throughout history, Edison, Tesla, Dali, accessed breakthrough innovations through this portal between worlds. But be warned, there's a guardian at this gateway: fear. As you begin consciously programming reality, the simulation fights back through doubt, social resistance, and internal sabotage. This isn't random. It's the system's immune response. Every master who discovered these keys faced the same resistance. This is your supreme ordeal, confronting the fear that keeps you bound to limited perception. The most profound truth the simulation hides. You are not merely a character in the game. You are the player who temporarily forgot. These four keys: mental diet, revision, living in the end, and the state akin to sleep, are not just techniques. They are remembrances, echoes of your true nature, calling you to reclaim your creative power. The simulation was never meant to trap you. It was designed for you to master. Let's bridge theory to practice. How do you implement these keys in daily life? Begin with a 7-day consciousness experiment. Each morning, set your mental diet intention. Today, I consciously select my thoughts. Each evening, revise one negative experience from your day. Before sleep, spend 10 minutes living in the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Then let yourself drift into the hypnagogic state with that feeling. This isn't spirituality. It's applied quantum consciousness. The greatest obstacle you'll face isn't applying these techniques. It's maintaining them when reality appears to contradict your new programming. When your bank account still shows lack after weeks of living in abundance consciousness. When your physical symptoms persist despite your mental revision. This is the simulation's resistance, testing your resolve, what quantum physicists call the observer effect stabilization period. Persistence is the hidden fifth key. The quantum field responds not to intermittent signals, but to consistent consciousness broadcasting. An Olympic athlete doesn't train occasionally. They embody their victory daily until the physical world has no choice but to conform. Your chosen reality may take days, weeks, or months to fully render. The stronger the collective programming against it, the more persistence required. The simulation bends to the most convincing observer. Here's what the billionaire manifestors, the master healers, and the quantum pioneers understand. You exist in multiple states simultaneously. The you reading this now, the you living your dream life, the you facing disaster, all exist in superposition. These aren't metaphors. They're quantum mechanical facts. The version you experience depends entirely on which reality track you consistently tune your consciousness to. Not sometimes, not when it's convenient. Consistently. With great power comes profound responsibility. As you master these keys, a crucial question emerges. What reality will you choose to create? The simulation reveals a divine paradox. While you can create any reality you desire, the most fulfilling creations align with collective evolution. Will you use these tools for mere material gain? Or will you create realities that elevate consciousness for all? The greatest masters throughout history chose the latter. Consider a profound warning. Many who discover these keys initially become drunk with power. I can have anything, be anything. While true, this egoic perspective often leads to hollow manifestations. The law of divine paradox emerges. The more you align your desires with collective evolution, the more power you access. The simulation isn't just testing if you can escape its limitations. It's testing how you'll use your freedom. Let's examine a real-world application. A 35-year-old with prematurely gray hair applied these principles. Through mental diet, rejecting the genetic determinism narrative. Through revision, reimagining their cellular history. Through living in the end, embodying the feeling of vibrant follicles. Through the hypnagogic state, programming their subconscious with youthful cellular instructions. Within months, witnesses observed new pigmented hair growth that conventional science couldn't explain. Another case study. A chronically broke entrepreneur applied these keys to their financial reality. Instead of obsessing over their empty bank account, mental diet, they revised memories of past failures, lived in the emotional state of abundance, and programmed their subconscious through the hypnagogic gateway. Unexpected opportunities emerged. Past clients returned. New ideas manifested. Their income quadrupled in 90 days. Was it just positive thinking? Or conscious reality? Selection. Relationships. often considered the most challenging manifestation domain, respond to these same principles. When you stop seeing others as separate entities with opposing free will and recognize them as reflections of your consciousness, the game changes entirely. A woman used these keys to transform a hostile co-parenting situation by mentally dieting against conflict thoughts, revising past interactions, living in the end state of harmonious communication, and programming this new reality in the hypnagogic state. Within weeks, her ex-partner's behavior transformed without her saying a word to him. The greatest obstacle to mastering these keys isn't applying the techniques, it's overcoming your programming. From childhood, you've been conditioned to believe you are limited, that reality is fixed, that what you observe is the truth. This isn't a random belief, it's deliberate programming to keep you from discovering your creative power. Every doubt you feel isn't yours. It's the system protecting itself from your awakening. Look around. What forces are programming your simulation? News designed to trigger fear. Entertainment normalizing limitation. Social media engineering insecurity. Advertising creating artificial desires. Every external source attempting to write code into your consciousness. The master programmer recognizes these inputs as optional, consciously selecting which programs deserve access to their reality-creating mechanism. This isn't paranoia, it's sovereign consciousness. Here's a practical exercise. For 1 week, document your dominant thoughts and emotions hourly. What you'll discover is shocking. Approximately 90% of your reality-creating consciousness runs on autopilot, recycling programs you never consciously chose. The thoughts repeat. The emotions cycle. The external circumstances reflect them perfectly. This isn't philosophy, it's data. Your current reality is the precise output of this unconscious programming. Change the input. Change the simulation. Ancient mystical traditions weren't religious dogma. They were technologies of consciousness. Meditation isn't relaxation. It's quantum field access. Prayer isn't begging. It's reality programming. Visualization isn't fantasy. It's simulation selection. Strip away the cultural context, and every spiritual tradition on Earth contains the same core instruction. Master your consciousness. Master your reality. Modern quantum physics isn't contradicting this wisdom. It's confirming it in a different language. The simulation presents a profound choice. Continue on autopilot, reacting to circumstances as if they happen to you, or awaken to your role as the consciousness architect, recognizing that circumstances happen through you. This isn't philosophical speculation. It's the functional difference between remaining trapped in the program versus becoming the programmer. Every thought, every emotion, every assumption about what's possible, these aren't responses to reality. They're the code creating it. The ancient masters and quantum pioneers left breadcrumbs leading to this moment of recognition. You are not trapped in the simulation. You are the simulation, expressing itself through human form. The 4 keys: mental diet, revision, living in the end, and the state akin to sleep aren't just techniques for changing your circumstances. They are remembrances of your true creative nature. The simulation was never your prison. It was always your canvas. Now, with conscious awareness, what masterpiece will you create? You stand at a pivotal moment, a cosmic fork in the road. Path 1. Return to conventional reality, dismissing these concepts as interesting philosophy. Path 2. Take the conscious leap, accepting that you've been given the master keys to the simulation. This choice determines which version of you continues forward. Not right versus wrong, simply different reality streams. The fact that you've remained engaged this far suggests your consciousness is ready for the second path. Are you? For those choosing path 2, let's deepen your mastery of the first key. Mental diet. Think of your mind as a garden. Each thought is either a seed or a weed. Most people allow any thought to take root. Anxiety, limitation, fear, then wonder why those experiences manifest. The master gardener becomes ruthlessly selective. Does this thought serve my desired reality? If not, extract it immediately. This isn't denial, it's conscious selection. Your thoughts aren't observations of reality. They're blueprints for it. Practical implementation. When a limiting thought arises, I can't afford that. They'll never approve my idea. My health won't improve. Immediately counter with, that's an interesting suggestion, but I choose not to accept it. Then consciously select its replacement. Creative solutions for my finances are emerging. My ideas resonate with exactly the right people. My body has extraordinary healing capacity. Document this practice for 30 days, noting how external reality begins conforming to your mental selections. The correlation will be undeniable. Deepening the second key, revision. Understand that your past is not fixed but interpretive. Neuroscience confirms memories aren't recordings, but reconstructions, modified slightly with each recall. Let's make this modification conscious. Select a painful memory that still influences your self-concept. Before sleep, revisit it, not to deny it happened, but to experience it differently. Change your emotional response. See new meanings. Feel empowered rather than victimized. Do this consistently until the new version feels more real than the original. You're not delusional. You're selecting which quantum timeline defines your now. Mastering the third key, living in the end. This isn't visualization, it's emotional embodiment. The quantum field responds not to your words or images, but to your energetic state. Identify your desire, career advancement, relationship harmony, physical healing. Now, crucial distinction. Instead of focusing on having that thing, embody being the version of you who already experiences it. How would that version feel? What emotions would dominate their days? What thoughts would be natural? Live from that state consistently. Reality has no choice but to reflect your dominant emotional frequency. Perfecting the fourth key, the state akin to sleep. This twilight zone of consciousness is your most powerful reality programming window. Begin with small targets to build confidence. Lie comfortably, allowing yourself to drift towards sleep while maintaining a thread of awareness. As you enter the hypnagogic state, feel yourself already experiencing your desire, not as future hope, but present fact. Your conscious mind will object. This isn't true yet. That resistance diminishes in this state, allowing the new programming direct access to your subconscious. The quantum reality selector, the master strategy, integration. These four keys work exponentially when combined. Begin your day with mental diet intention. Throughout your day, practice thought selection continuously. In challenging moments, mentally revise in real time. During lunch or breaks, spend 5 to 10 minutes living in the end. Before sleep, revise the day's events and enter the hypnagogic state, embodying your desired reality. This integrated practice creates an unshakable consciousness container that reality must conform to. Not eventually, inevitably. Expect resistance from your own conditioned mind, from others, from the simulation itself. Doubt will whisper, "This isn't working." Physical reality may appear unchanged initially. Remember, quantum probability fields shift before physical manifestation occurs. The simulation tests your persistence. Those who abandon these practices prematurely remain trapped. Those who persist, despite contradictory evidence, eventually reach the tipping point, where accumulated consciousness programming suddenly materializes as if by magic. But it's not magic, it's mechanics. The framework we've explored, reality as simulation, is one model for understanding consciousness. Whether you see it as simulation theory, quantum mechanics, or ancient mysticism doesn't matter. These are just different maps describing the same territory. The simulation model simply provides a contemporary framework for understanding an ancient truth. Consciousness creates reality. The terminology is less important than the practical application. Whatever metaphysical model resonates with you, the mechanics remain the same. Master your inner state. Master your outer reality. When challenges arise, and they will, remember this wisdom. Obstacles aren't blocking your path. They are the path. Each difficulty is a cosmic invitation to apply these principles more deeply. Lost your job? Perfect opportunity to revise your career trajectory. Relationship conflict? Ideal laboratory for consciousness mastery. Health crisis? The ultimate testing ground for reality reprogramming. The simulation provides exactly the challenges needed to evolve your consciousness. The masters weren't those who avoided problems. They were those who recognized problems as consciousness expansion opportunities. A critical distinction. These principles aren't about escaping physical reality. They're about mastering it while recognizing its malleability. The most advanced practitioners don't renounce the material world. They fully engage with it from awakened consciousness. They build thriving businesses, create fulfilling relationships, and maintain vibrant health, not as ends themselves, but as expressions of their expanded awareness. The goal isn't transcendence from matter. but transcendence through matter, using physical reality as the canvas for consciousness evolution. As your reality transforms through these practices, you face a choice. Keep this knowledge private, or become a way-shower for others. The latter accelerates your own evolution. When you help others recognize their creative power, your mastery deepens, not through preaching or convincing, but by embodying these principles so thoroughly that others naturally ask, "What's different about you?" Then, only for those ready to hear, share these keys. Remember, you can't awaken someone who's pretending to sleep. Focus on those whose consciousness is already seeking expansion. A profound warning: as your creative power expands, unresolved shadows within your consciousness will manifest more rapidly. Many abandon these practices when their hidden fears, judgments, and wounds suddenly materialize in their reality. This isn't failure, it's evolution. The simulation simply shows you what needs integration. Welcome these shadows as messengers. When challenging manifestants appear, ask, what part of my consciousness created this? What needs healing? Then, apply revision to those aspects. True mastery isn't creating perfect circumstances. It's maintaining consciousness sovereignty, regardless of circumstances. The question that haunts every awakening consciousness: with this power, what reality will I create? Let ethics guide you. The simulation responds most powerfully to desires aligned with collective evolution. This doesn't mean renouncing personal desires. It means recognizing that true fulfillment comes when your creations serve both yourself and others. Create wealth that generates value. Create relationships that elevate all involved. Create health that inspires others. The most powerful reality programmers throughout history understood this balance between personal sovereignty and collective service. The ultimate revelation isn't that you're trapped in a simulation. It's that you are the simulation becoming conscious of itself. These 4 keys: mental diet, revision, living in the end, and the state akin to sleep, aren't just techniques for manifesting desires. They're remembrances of your true nature as the conscious creator experiencing itself through human form. The simulation was never your prison. It was always your playground, your classroom, your canvas. Now, with these master keys in hand, what magnificent reality will you create? The simulation awaits your conscious command.